Bear was dying. Over the last couple of weeks, eating and drinking had gone from being a pleasure and a means to stay alive to its own special kind of torture. Likewise, being awake had slowly become more and more difficult a state to obtain, but Bear persevered. Bear persevered because he wasn't worried about dying. He was worried about leaving his daddy, Chris, behind. And rightfully so. Chris was worried about Bear because of how horrible Bear felt. And was worried that he had pulled the trigger too soon for Bear to leave, he kept thinking. We just need to get him feeling better and not miserable. It's too soon. It can't be the end. But alas, it was beyond time. I had the privilege to go with Chris to Bear's last vet appointment, and there I made sure to assure Bear that I would do my best to be there for Chris. I know I couldn't do it the same way, for Bear was a one-of-a-kind cat. But I could make sure Chris wasn't alone while he grieved Bear. And I could continue to share the story of what a wonderful cat Bear was. You see, Bear was a special kind of cat. He was able to walk on a leash with his harness and was trained to be able to successfully go into public with Chris anywhere he felt that he needed company. He would take new things with stride, like me riding up to him in my wheelchair and just hop in my lap begging for more cuddles. The kind of cat that would actually listen when you asked him to sit, and he would sit. He was a working cat, and his person was Chris. Bear had been fighting off the inevitable for days, and it was time to say goodbye. And the picture is the last time that Chris got to hold Bear alive. Bear peacefully passed away at the vet office after weeks of fighting his organs shutting down and not being able to eat and drink or do any of the things he loved with Chris anymore. After I reassured him that I would do my best to be there for Chris, and Chris wouldn't be alone. This is my recollection of the moment. Flawed it probably is, because it is only one point of view. But it is what I did, to the best of my ability, with my intentions. It's been a while now since this passing has happened, and I've done my best to keep my word to Bear. I spend time with my friend Chris and Bear's little sibling, Cleo, routinely. I'm so grateful to have met Chris. Like Bear, he's one of those once-in-a-lifetime humans. Or creatures. I'm not sure what word to use here. Chris probably could. He's really good with words. But that brings me to the point of this video. My specialty is in illustrations and arting. And when my words fail me, or I can't bring the right ones forth when I'm processing something, I draw. And this is one of those images where I really want to do it justice. So what you see me drawing here is actually a full colored trial of the photograph. I've made a few tweaks to the pose, and I changed Chris's shirt to blue in order to better show off him and Bear, and I went to town for several hours to make this. Normally, I don't use colored pencils, but something about this project just told me that this was a project where colored pencils needed to be involved in the study in order for me to get the most out of it. So I pulled them out and started filling in my outline with the details, frequently referencing the drawing. Sometimes you'll see it peeking in the frame, but I just used the image off of my phone for this. I didn't print it out or anything first. My hope is this initial study has given me a better understanding of the composition and will allow me to, in the future when I'm ready, make a bigger, grander, more detailed, finalized version of this image, which I have dubbed The Goodbye. We've all had to deal with an especially large amount of loss lately due to world circumstances, and as a society, we're not very good at dealing with goodbyes in general, let alone final ones. So I felt that this image and the story behind it was really potent, and images are really, really good for stuff that we don't cope with really well otherwise. And death is just part of the cycle of the story. It's both an end of one thing and the beginning of another. And despite that, we tend to be very good at looking at the fact that it's the end and not part of a cycle. It is, yes, it's an end, but it is not the end. And so me drawing this has helped is kind of a cathartic release for some of the losses I've personally been dealing with. And my hope is that you guys watching it also experience a release. Maybe it's a related release. Maybe it was a passing of a family member or a beloved pet or working animal that helped you on a day-to-day basis as one of your limbs. Because a partnership doesn't quite cover the relationship that a working animal does. This piece counts as a memento mori, but on cheerier terms, because yes, we all must eventually pass, but we won't be forgotten. We all leave our mark, and that mark, at least the one that I leave, hopefully inspires others. Bear's life certainly inspired me, and Chris's continues to do so. I will never pass alone. All the memories that I have made will greet me as I go. And I hope the same happened for Bear. Thank you for watching. If you like this video, please hit the subscribe button, and consider consider getting me a coffee. And subscribe if you want to see more like it. Have a nice day.